Well, this is it. The end of Need for Speed Unbound. Looking back at its inception, the game started off terribly. A garbage story, a severe lack of content at launch. Taking into account the scars that Heat's cancellation left on fans, Unbound's lifespan was not looking long, and even with the patches that came in its first year, it already looked to be a complete failure. But like an angel from the skies floating down into certain death, the devs announced Kaizen, an entire year filled with big updates, bringing back beloved game modes, new playlists, cars, and accessories. It was like being promised a buffet after years of scrounging for scraps. The dream wasn't dead just yet. The year first started off with head-to-head, dropping in with Audi, Ranked, a dedicated PvP mode to help with queue times, and the Premium Speed Pass. While a bit of a misstep, the community understood that this was simply an appetizer leading to the first course: drag and drift. There's always been a burning need for drag racing's return, and the drifting system was past due for a revamp, so this was sure to be the update that got this game back on track, right? Well, third time is always the charm, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a particular fan of Hot Pursuit 2012, and having anything, especially an entire update, revolve around the police when Unbound's shitty health system, crash cams, and busted cops exist is a recipe for disaster.
Made an ass of that move. Do not let this bullshit.
No, seriously, did they actually think that a cop-focused game mode would work with Unbound's shitty health system, crash cams, and busted cops? You guys did make your game, right? What possessed you to think that anybody could have fun playing cops and robbers when the robbers have to dodge other players and the entire LPD precinct in fear of taking damage every love tap, while also being forced to sit there like a good little racer waiting until the game says you can play it again? Which then leaves us with Volume 9, the inevitable most wanted update celebrating 30 years of pup gasket cars, with a brand spanking new game mode, 15 Blacklist cars to collect, and a computer hacking commentator under the name Racer X, revealed to be voiced by the man himself, Derek frickin' Hamilton. The motorcycle, the Rockport influence, Razor's return, the 30-year anniversary, and Volume 9 being heralded as Kaizen's closing update, it's needless to say that expectations, including mine, started to skyrocket. What did they have up their sleeve with this new Battle Royale style mode? How can players manage the shitty health system while fighting both players and the LPD at the same time? What gameplay elements and rewards will this game mode bring to the players to keep them coming back for more? The main issue that damaged the longevity of Kaizen as a whole. Can the devs end this year off on a high note? Can they show for sure that Kaizen wasn't a botched job at keeping Unbound alive? Well, let's get into this new game mode and find out for ourselves, shall we? So Lockdown is what's considered to be an extraction type game mode. 15 players are split into groups of 3, free to roam the city of Lakeshore picking up money, power-ups, and cars on the side of the road. As time goes on, you'll have the chance to enter races, which give you extra cash. Racer X will also reveal an open lockup, which can be accessed by either squeezing in between the side gates with the bike or coughing up 100k. These lockups are filled with money, power-ups, and cars, and the cars themselves will sometimes be Unbound themed vehicles, for some reason, or the Blacklist themed cars added from the update. During the festivities, there are lockdown zones that appear all over Lakeshore, taking up more area as the clock hits 0. Inside the zone, you periodically take damage and your default heat level is maxed out, but the pickup boxes have their values doubled. You can spend time driving around, picking up loot, getting into lockups, and taking out rivals, but your hard work only counts if you can claim the truck that Racer X sends in from time to time and extract to safety before time runs out. It might be daunting at first, and it doesn't help that there's no in-game tutorial, which is just pathetic. But after a couple of matches, you'll start to realize that the game is relatively simple to understand. Get in, get to the lockups, and get out. Now about the getting to the lockups part. Everyone knows that the lockups are the star of the show, as they hold the Blacklist cars. And as I mentioned before, the bike can get in through the side gates and allow you to take all the loot from inside free of charge, if you can get your hands on one. At random, a bike will pop up somewhere on the map, and a lockup's location will be revealed with it. As far as I know, there isn't a set amount of time for each bike reveal, so everyone's in the dark on when and where they can get one. Which seems fair, until the bike ends up on a part of the map where everyone except you is within arm's reach. To make this worse, you can't pick whatever car you have in your garage, as you have to work your way up to S+ via an extraction streak. And it goes without saying that even if you and everyone else were in arm's reach, you probably wouldn't have a chance against the Bugatti in an A-class Acura. So naturally, the community found a way to bypass this and would simply extract in the first truck 4 times to get to S+. Which then makes you question why in the hell a rank limiter was there in the first place. Especially when one of Lockdown's main gameplay elements puts you at a heat level not suitable for most cars under S rank. So if you haven't done the extraction tech, you're guaranteed to be falling behind most of the players out there, missing out on bikes and chances to open lockups. What's more is that you can't help your teammates if they're in a pinch or on bikes, as being on a bike reveals your location, and you might not even be able to extract because you're simply not fast enough. And the worst part is, that's not even Lockdown's biggest problem. That lies with the core gameplay itself. To be blunt, unless there's a bike and a lockup up for grabs, you're pretty much running around beating activities, picking up boxes, and maybe winning races, but the money won from racing is made obsolete because of how much of a payout the activities get you, especially if you beat Racer X's record. Sure, if a lot of people join in, you could get triple the amount, but they don't let you pick your own cars, so you might be outclassed by those who just so happen to have a built car in that exact rank. 1 point for the rank limiter, I guess, but you can spam activities to get enough money that stacks up against a win from a mostly filled race in way less time. So you'd probably get a lot of people in on the first race, as there's nothing to do, but the second those lockups come in, I don't see another one happen after that. We all know the cops are balls and the shitty health system doesn't give anyone motivation to tangle with them, as other players can abuse the system as well. The cars left on the side of the road don't get any further than A+, which may seem like another point for the rank limiter as it's a huge upgrade from B rank, but once again, it doesn't matter if you've used the extraction tech. So you're left with picking up money from boxes and spamming activities until a bike appears. That and the part that everybody rants and raves about, teaming up on a crew and taking their stuff like a bully on a playground. Yeah, as much as they like to claim that it is, unless your party is 3-stacked, this is as much of a team game as this is a good racing game. No matter how many times Racer X pleads for you to keep your eye on your teammate and make sure you have their back, outside of my teammate getting taken down, I never once got the sense that I was a part of a crew on a big heist. Everyone, including the enemy, goes their own separate ways, grabbing their own loot and opening their own lockups. Nobody protects or attacks anyone unless there's a truck to be contested, and who can blame them? The rank limiter and shitty health system exist. There's no incentive to fight for a common goal because the wealth obtained from accomplishing said goal doesn't spread across the crew. There's no victory screen, no kudos aside from the most wanted title, which is just a yellow hue on your name and a location reveal, so a lot of players' objective was to hopefully grab a Blacklist car and hightail it back to the garage. The second I got lucky enough to leave with the M3, I didn't see any reason to come back. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but I think a lot of people share my pain because I rarely ever got a game with a full lobby. Shit, half a lobby at that. Sometimes it'll be our crew against one other team, but most of the time it's just us driving around searching for lockups with Blacklist cars in them. I feel like this mode could have worked if it were dialed down to a crew consisting of you and 3 other players pitted against a massive LPD task force working to stop you from claiming objectives across the map, like a map-wide link-up with extraction elements. Having all these players fight over scraps while under duress from Tonka trucks with tinfoil cars and not even having the scraps be given to the entire crew after surviving both the players and the LPD, while I see what they were trying to go for, it just doesn't make any sense with the game they're implementing it in. At times, there are hidden sparks that give you a glimpse into how fun this game mode could have been, but it only has been and always will be a glimpse. At least Razor's quotes are pretty good.
Hey Slick, racing in Lakeshore just got crazier. Feel free to swing by. Roll up, roll up. Yours truly has organized some daring races. Truck incoming, if you don't have the stones to stick it out any longer. Hot damn, that was cool! Snooze, you literally lose though. Truck's gonna bug out soon. This ain't no pump gas kit car. Liar! You treat her with respect. Okay, Sugar Plum. I see you.
Still got that cheesy, corny, campy, early 2000s essence in them. And Derek Hamilton fit his old role back on like a glove. Good to have you back, Clarence. And that's Lockdown. What about the rest of Volume 9? They added some new playlists, some are inspired by 05, but only by the name of the map and forcing everyone to use the M3. Just goes to show the narrow view they have on what made 05 so beloved. They also added some new cars, but like I said in the last video, the roster doesn't matter much to me anymore. Well actually, there are a certain group of Volume 9 cars that I want to get into. The bait on the Lockdown hook. The Blacklist 15 cars. Or, to calm the nerves of Unbound apologists, the Blacklist 15 inspired cars. Call them whatever you want. It still won't protect them from how awful some of these look.
But these shirts are ass. This is terrible.
Many people pointed out that some of these decals are equipped on cars completely unrelated to the Blacklist car they originated from. I mean, come on, this has to break a law somewhere. Yet, without fail, here come the fans with their all-seeing eye. But Daura, there's lore behind this choice. These cars were created by the CPUs that got inspired by Racer X and the stories of the Blacklist in Rockport. Ah, so instead of taking the easy route of using the cars in the roster that make the most sense with the decal they're wrapped with, they instead took the easier route by reusing assets, horribly rewrapping them, and slapping them onto Volume 9, passing it off like it's new content. Quality save, you guys. You're a crucial asset to the hater squad. Jokes aside, there's no excuse for what they've done to these cars, and how off-base some of their wraps look. I get Need for Speed is in a bad place and you're searching for anything hinting at a silver lining, but it's not worth it to delude yourself to do so. Volume 9 is garbage, and surprisingly enough, parading Most Wanted's corpse for the 100th time couldn't save it. Which, believe it or not, makes me a little sad because I really did want Unbound to bounce back. Each volume was a shockwave from a defib, with every day after met with me on my knees praying, please, Need for Speed devs, please for the love of God let this be the one. Sad to say that no matter how much I wanted it to be, it was never enough. Need for Speed Unbound is going to die off, making the same impact it did when it released. A resounding, Now before I go, there are rumors that a new game is on the way. It's obviously too soon, but to entertain that rumor, I'd like to list off a couple of things I would like to see, but know they won't ever do, in the next game. First order of business, a complete removal of crash cams and the health bar. Permanently. My reasoning for crash cams is dialed down to one question. Can any of you name me one legit thing that crash cams bring to the table that make the game more fun? I'll wait. And the health bar makes no sense in a racing game as there's no blocks or dodges. You're at the mercy of whatever's hitting you, which takes control away from the player and takes the workload off the devs to make cop chases fun again, hiding under the veil that artificial difficulty is genuine challenge. Number 2, no more drawing anything from previous Need for Speed games. I don't care if you draw it from frickin' Nitro. Make a completely new game and stop leaning on nostalgia. You had it with Heat. If you put your heads to it and learn from that game's mistakes, you can do it again. Contrary to popular belief, I think that the Need for Speed community is open to new things. The issue is that the new things you put out suck, and once you face deserved backlash, you instantly relapse back into the nostalgia bag, reinforcing the hate all things new label put on the community. So I guess I shouldn't be saying something new more than I should be saying something good, but baby steps. All in all, that's all my thoughts on Volume 9, closing the Unbound chapter in the Need for Speed universe. Kaizen sure was an attempt, but I do commend them for at least trying. As for the future, I have no clue where the franchise could go at this point, but wherever it does go, I'm probably not going to show up for it anyway. Thank you all for watching, don't be a poser, and have a spectacular rest of your day.